Ever notice how music has one main, happy-sounding major scale? But as soon as things get a little moody, a little more emotional, suddenly there isn't just one minor scale, but three? It's a bit of a mystery, right? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out exactly why that is.
So yeah, this is the big question. Why three minor scales when major gets by just fine with one? And what's so cool about the answer is that it isn't just about boring music theory rules. No, it's actually a story about musicians solving problems over hundreds of years. So let's unpack it.
All right, first things first, let's start with something we can all just hear. Major keys. They sound bright, uplifting, happy. But minor keys, that's where you get all the dark, moody, really emotional stuff. Seriously, if you've never heard that YouTube video of REM's Losing My Religion in a major key, it sounds so ridiculously cheerful, it's almost wrong. That's the power of the minor sound, and it all starts here. Our journey begins with the natural minor. You can think of this as our home base, It's ground zero, the default setting for that minor sound.
Now, the key thing to get about the natural minor is that it's not some brand new invention. It's actually directly related to the major scale. It even has another name, the Olean mode, and it's basically just a major scale with a different perspective.
And check this out. Here's the ultimate shortcut for finding any natural minor scale. Just pick any major scale you want, count up to the sixth note, and bam, that's it. Start playing the exact same notes from that new starting point, and bam, you've got its relative minor. Like with C major, the sixth note is A. Start on A, and you're playing A natural minor. Simple as that. And here it is, the A natural minor scale. Take a look. No sharps, no flats. It uses the exact same notes as C major. It just feels totally different because A is our new home base. It's elegant, it's simple, but, and this is a big but, it had a problem. You see, a huge part of what makes music satisfying is that feeling of tension and release, of coming home. The seventh note in the natural minor is a whole step away from the root note, and that just doesn't create a very strong magnetic pull. The harmony can sound a little meh, a little unresolved. So musicians back in the day came up with a pretty clever hack. And that little hack leads us straight to our second scale, the harmonic minor. This wasn't something decided by a committee or written in a textbook. This was an organic fix created by composers in the real world who just wanted their chords to hit harder and sound more final. The fix itself was so simple, it's genius. All they did was take that seventh note and raise it by one half step. Just one little change creates this incredibly powerful leading tone that's now just a tiny step away from the tonic. And that note desperately wants to go home, giving you that super satisfying solid resolution in your chords.
I mean, just look at them side by side. On the left, you've got the A natural minor with that G natural. But on the right, in the harmonic minor, that G becomes a G sharp. That single tweak is a total game changer for harmony. But as it so often goes, fixing one problem created a brand new one. The new issue wasn't with the chords, it was with the melody. When you raise that seventh note, you suddenly create this big, kind of awkward jump between the sixth and seventh notes. It's a gap of 3 half steps, called an augmented second, and it can sound a little crunchy. It's got a really distinct, almost exotic vibe, but it's not always easy to sing or play smoothly. And so, the composers went back to the drawing board. They needed one more solution, one final fix. But this time, the goal was to make melodies sound smooth and graceful again. And this brings us to our third and final scale, the melodic minor. Now, this one is really fascinating. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. When you're going up the scale, you raise both the sixth and the seventh notes. This closes that awkward gap and makes everything smooth. But here's the cool part. On the way back down, you don't need that strong pull to the tonic anymore because you're moving away from it. So the scale just reverts back to the plain old natural minor. And you can really see the fix right here. On the left, there's that clunky jump in the harmonic minor from F to G sharp. But on the right, in the melodic minor, raising the F to an F sharp gives you this beautiful, even, stepwise motion. It's just a really elegant solution to that melodic problem.
Okay, so we have our 3 scales. Now, before we go any further, let's do a quick sidebar on 2 words you'll hear all the time when people talk about keys: relative and parallel. They sound similar, but they mean very different things. It's actually pretty simple when you see it laid out. Relative keys, like our C major and A minor example, share the exact same notes, the same key signature. They just have a different starting line. Parallel keys, on the other hand, like C major and C minor, share the same starting note, but their scales are made of different notes. It's a subtle difference in definition, but a huge difference in sound.
All right, enough with the theory. This is all great, but where do we actually hear this stuff out in the wild? Let's talk about some songs you definitely know and see how these scales are used.
The natural minor is an absolute workhorse. It gives you that raw, soulful feel in songs like Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers, or the iconic vibe of Little Wing by Hendrix. Stevie Wonder uses it in Part-Time Lover. But composers also use these scales for dramatic effect, like in the famous love theme from Romeo and Juliet, or the jazz standard theme from Spartacus. Each scale brings its own flavor.
And this quote right here really gets to the heart of it all. It reminds us that something like the harmonic minor isn't some rigid box that composers had to fit their music into. It's more like a name we gave to what they were already doing. It's just a way of describing the notes they used when they wanted stronger chords. It's a description of what happened, not a rulebook. So when you boil it all down, it's actually pretty logical. Each scale simply evolved to do a specific job. The natural minor is our foundation, our base sound. The harmonic minor is the specialized tool for building strong chords. And the melodic minor is the specialized tool for singing or playing smooth melodies. 3 different tools for 3 different jobs.
So, there it is. The reason there are 3 minor scales isn't because music is complicated for no reason. It's because each one is a tool, a solution to a problem, a different color on the palette. They're not just rules to memorize, they're options, they're sounds. So the only question that's really left is, which one are you going to choose for your next creation?